Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It has been a while since I've recorded a video, so happy new year to all of you. I hope you're doing well this new year. So one of the new resolutions I have this year is to really start getting back into content creation. I actually recorded a video towards the end of last year, but it never got posted because I'm just terrible about editing and trying to get things up here. I am going to do my best to try to actually post the content that I create this year and to actually be more consistent with engaging with you all. So today I wanted to take a moment and talk about a leadership concept that I don't think is talked about at all. And I was so excited when I ran across it in my studies. And it was towards the end because this is really kind of a new leadership type of mindset or thinking or theory that really we should incorporate into our just understanding of how to be better leaders. And as we went through the leadership theories, we started out with the very basic type of theories that focused on traits that leaders have, skills that leaders have, things about the leader that make them great. So for me, if I'm just extremely confident naturally, that's a trait that I have and that makes me a better leader, right? There's a lot of theories that focus on that. And then a lot of the theories begin to incorporate things like situation and opportunity, right? So if the situation is one way, as a leader, I may engage in these types of behaviors. If the situation is a certain different way, that I may engage with other behaviors. And so some leaders have adopted theories that really show that to be a really great leader, you need to be adaptable and flexible and things like that. And the theories have really from there began to incorporate kind of each other in some ways, focus on different things. You've heard maybe of transformational leadership, servant leadership, and things like that. So this ultimate message is for aspiring leaders that are either in the very beginning of their leadership journey. One of the ways, the first thing as I go through some of this practical advice is really just starting at the beginning, which is I believe that in order for you to become or be ready or to really immerse yourself into being a good leader is to learn how to be a good follower. And I think when people hear the word follower, they automatically associate that with a negative connotation. Even for me having kids now, right? I'm teaching them, hey, I need you to be a leader. I need you to be a leader. We've taught kids when they follow others and they're going down the wrong path, then there's something that's off. But really, if we're teaching kids to be great leaders, we're also teaching them to follow other great leaders. So in their case, other kids that are exhibiting correct behavior. So there's nothing wrong with following, right? And I think that we need to break away from the follow word being negative. Just because you're not leading something or just because you're not executing on your vision doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be supportive of that vision and can't follow that thing faithfully. And when you're a person that can understand the big picture and be able to say, hey, my leader has a vision for something, and if you're able to understand that, it's okay for me to want to serve faithfully that leader as they are doing their very best, hopefully, to lead. Right? And in order for them to be successful, they need people that are going to embrace the direction that they're going, whether you agree or not, so that they can be successful and so that ultimately that follower can then eventually be successful. And so it doesn't even mean, and I want to point this out too, that you are naively following. Right? It doesn't mean that you don't respectfully challenge. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that when you do challenge, and when you do present ideas and your leader doesn't go with it, can you be able to sustain and be okay? I've run across people even recently where they disagree so much with the leadership. What do? They complain. They get into really dark places. They begin to take other people with them and other people down. And there may be some validity to their point. It 100% could be that what that leader is doing may not be 100% correct. And so what the follower would do is just literally not follow and hopefully try to get other people to not follow also. But the reality is you're never going to always completely agree with your leader. And your leader is also a human. So it's so important to remember that just like you're on your journey and learning, leadership, just because someone got to that position doesn't mean that they know everything. that they've seen everything and that they're going to get it all right. And so we have to be able to give them some grace to be able to learn and evolve in their own roles, just as you are learning and evolving in your role. That is so important. And I will tell you, that has consistently been the case for me every role that I've gotten. I've led more, but I've had to follow more at the exact same time. And you have to know when and when not to do each one. My ideas have always been there, and the influence that I could have always been there. But there's a time and a place for everything. And sometimes you have to be patient and wait for those opportunities. But in that meantime, learning how to be faithful to your leaders and to at least do your very best to execute upon their vision will help you to be ready for the position where you are then going to be leading your followers to their destination. If you strive to be a leader, strive to be the best follower to the leaders around you that you can be. Try to be the best follower to the leaders around you that you can be, especially the good leaders, the people that you have determined have at least the strongest qualities, that you've seen them be successful. You know that they have your best interest. Follow them. Follow them. Even if where they're leading you don't fully understand or even agree with fully. You'll have your time. But for now, be the best follower that you can be. I speak from personal experience. I have had many leaders, and all of them have very strong vision. And in fact, having a strong vision that you can explain to other people and that you can be very confident about and sure about is actually the definition of a good leader, or a part of the definition of what makes somebody a good leader, right? And so when we run across leaders that are sure and confident, that is a good thing, right? And I wouldn't expect them to be anything but sure and confident about their vision and where they want to go. And so for me, I've always tried to be a vision carrier. My only ask of them is to help me understand your vision. I've done this a lot in ministry as well. There's many pastors, right? They have visions for different types of ministries, but they don't necessarily always know how to execute that. And so I've always said to myself, I really just need to understand what you want to do and why. And typically when I can get to the place where I understand your vision, where you're going, I can be okay with the little details, right? But if I can understand where you're going, it's so much easier for me to support your vision. Just because I'm supporting your vision doesn't mean that I don't have my own, or that I can't create my own, or that I can't modify. But I can understand yours and do the best I can to help support that. So try to understand and learn where your leaders are trying to head. Truly, really fully try to immerse yourself in that, because it will help you to get over any of the things that come up that make you want to be unsupportive to that. At the end of the day, that's part of your job, is to be supportive of them and to help get the overall mission done. If you're not able to do that and it's so bad, then that's where you may need to look for another role. But if you're going to be there, be the best you can be while you're there. The second thing that I have on this list around if you're striving to be a leader is to be humble and patient. Humble and patient. You will have your time. If you have leadership qualities and you're developing leadership skills and you're developing yourself, you're going to become a leader one day. You 100% will have your time. But you need to be humble in the midst. Know and be honest about where you are. There's been times where I thought that I was 100% ready for a leadership position, but I was not, right? And so it really took the self-reflection and the self-awareness to understand really where I'm at and to embrace and to be content with the roles that I had. Even though at one point I wasn't leading a full department, I maybe was leading just a small subset of the department. I owned that. That was okay with me. I realized at some point maybe it would be more departments, but even while it's nothing, or even right now, right, that you don't own or have to necessarily lead many people, you're leading yourself. And even right now, be humble in that, right? Because there's something about even being a good self-leader that can really influence a lot of different things in your career. So be patient. park those things in the back of your mind of what you would do different. Like I said, just because the leaders are around you and you support them doesn't mean that you won't have the opportunity to do something different. There's been leaders that I've had that I did not like some of the things that they did, right? Or I didn't fully, that wasn't going to be my approach, right? I'm entitled to my approach just as they are them. So I can be respectful of the leadership decisions that they make, and I can be respectful of the leadership decisions that they make that I do like and the ones that I don't like, right? Knowing that when I'm in that position, I will have to make some very tough calls just like them. And it is harder than you think. If you have not been in a leadership position and you're thinking, man, if I'm a leader, when I get in there, I'll just do all this stuff and it'll be like this. I'm telling you, it's more challenging than you think, though it's not impossible, 100%. And you will have the opportunity to make changes and shifts and to try your ideas just like your leaders are doing, right? You'll have that chance. But in the meantime, be humble and patient and absorb everything you can while you can. Because when you're in that position and you have to make a split decision, everything that you learned from all the roles you had before, you're going to have to rely on that knowledge because you're not going to be able to depend on always other people around you to be able to have that final call. And that kind of bleeds into the third item, which is to learn and absorb everything you can while you can. Learn and absorb everything you can while you can. Again, don't be in a rush. There's no rush. Trust me, this is a long journey and you're never going to know everything. You're never going to all the way be ready for every situation. You can't foresee the future, so don't even try. But while you are in positions where you're able to try things, you're able to expand your knowledge here, you're able to explore certain things, do that and be okay doing that. Because truly, I've learned every job is preparing you for the next job. Model the behaviors. This is number 4. Model the behaviors you admire and watch for those that you do not admire. Again, the leaders around you are not perfect people. You're never going to always be in a situation where every leader has every skill and trait and exhibits every single behavior that you think are the best, right? And for every situation, because it's so much more complex than that. But what I've learned is in my preparation for leadership, you begin to model the behaviors that you know are going to be successful. How do you know that? Because you've seen them be successful in others. So you begin to model behaviors after great leaders. If you're in an organization, find leaders that you think do a good job. Because you don't know everything about them. There may be some things they don't do good, but the things that you see and the experiences that you've had with them that you thought led to good success, model that, right? I know people think it's funny that I still say fake it till you make it, but there's something about it, or even in this case, speaking it into existence. There's something about when you can get your mind, right, to think ahead, even before you're ultimately in that role, it becomes so much easier in habit, right? Practice doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent. Okay, that's what I always say. Practice is going to make permanent those things. So when you start modeling those, when the pressure is not on, when the pressure becomes on, now you've developed those habits. And you're going to start doing those things without thinking about it. Developing the leadership mindset. This is number 5. And exercise it consistently. The same thing about number 4, right? These kind of bleed into each other. So you're going to model those behaviors of those things that you like. You're going to keep track of the ones that you don't like so that you don't model those behaviors. And then you're going to continuously do those things. And then you're going to start developing your leadership mindset and exercising it, practicing. When you're in those positions where you don't necessarily have the ultimate accountability, it's great, right? It's great to see what would you do. Think about even now in certain circumstances at your organization. Start thinking about what would you do. If it was me and I had to make that call, what call would I make? Is it different or is it the same as your leaders? Begin to think through that, because I promise you there's going to be many times where you're going to either be in the seat or you're going to be watching someone else make the seat. And guess what you'll also be able to do when you're a leader? Influence. You'll be able to understand maybe how someone else is forming their opinion about something to be able to give them a different opinion. All of that is a part of leadership. So again, if you aspire to be a good leader, this is the time now to be a good follower and to develop some of these skills so that when you're in the leadership position, you're ready. And a lot of these things that we're going to go through, all of these skills and traits, guess what? Unless you are the top person at an organization, and even those people have someone to report to, you'll always have someone to follow. You're never going to escape being a good follower. And so it's so important now to focus on how can I be a good follower and how can I be the best aspiring leader and start exhibiting these things while I can. And then also, how can I begin being a great leader, right? So that way you have the full package. Not only can I do what someone else is envisioning and lead that with greatness, but I can also develop my own vision and lead that with greatness. You'll want to have both. So anyway, I hope that this was enlightening and give you something to think about. Be a good follower as well as a good leader. For now, that's the end of this video. Hopefully you liked it. Please give me a thumbs up. I'll be back soon, hopefully not as long as the last time, with another one.